How much protein do you need if you want to gain weight or are physically active? Physically active people don't need protein for its energy. That's better provided by carbohydrate and fat. But they do need it to repair proteins that are damaged during their workouts. The questions are how much, how often, what type, and what else is needed. Since muscle mass is related to body size, the recommended daily allowance for protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, or 0.36 grams per pound. This recommendation is for your average couch potato, which, by the way, if it was a real potato, would contain 3 grams of protein. Studies show that endurance training ups those recommendations to 1.2 to 1.4 grams per kilogram, which comes out to be about 10 to 20 grams per meal. They also show that strength and resistance training requires 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram, or about 20 to 30 grams per meal. Once consumed, protein is digested down to its individual amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, which are put into an amino acid pool of sorts for the body to select from when it comes to building new proteins. But there's a limit on how many amino acids can go inside a muscle to build its new proteins. Once that limit is reached, referred to as the muscle full effect, the unneeded amino acids remain in the blood, where they'll be used elsewhere or are broken down and removed in part as ammonia and urea through the kidneys. The muscle full effect is a little higher in trained and older people, so these people benefit the most from consuming protein at the higher end of those recommendations. In fact, some people suggest that for older people, the RDA for protein should be closer to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight, and then even more if they're physically active. And there's some evidence that while consuming more than 30 grams of protein per meal doesn't increase muscle protein synthesis, it might decrease muscle protein breakdown, leaving more low quality or damaged proteins inside the muscle rather than being removed, which would result in a somewhat larger but less efficient muscle for its size. Also, consuming more protein than these recommendations means you're also taking in more calories with that unnecessary protein, when those calories could be more useful if they came from eating fruits and vegetables, which are high in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. 3 other points to make. 1. Excess protein is not going to ruin your kidneys, unless you're predisposed to kidney problems. 2. Consuming 20 to 40 grams of slower acting casein before bedtime has been shown to be an effective strategy to promote some additional muscle growth. And 3. Some studies show that consuming 0.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight right after a workout stimulates muscle protein synthesis better than waiting a few hours, while other studies show that it doesn't matter as long as the total daily protein intake is adequate. But the key for maximal protein synthesis is to take the total daily protein intake and to divide it out into every 3 to 5 hours throughout the waking hours of the day. A few comments on protein sources. In order to build muscle mass, you need all essential amino acids, which can come from a single source, like dairy, egg, and meat, and plant sources like soy, quinoa, or a wide variety of other plant-based foods will also get you there. But if maximal muscle size is your goal, you'll want a source that's high in the essential amino acid leucine, like whey or soy. Leucine not only contributes to building new proteins, but it's the key stimulator to muscle protein synthesis by kickstarting the mTOR pathway. To your muscles, it doesn't matter where the amino acids came from, whether it's food, a protein shake, or an insect. Food protein's great, and protein in supplements isn't any better. In fact, it's often more expensive, but it's more convenient and often lower in calories and fat. But it's also lower in vitamins, mineral, and fiber. So I'll leave it to you to find your best source of essential amino acids. Now, all these amino acids aren't going to build proteins without some energy. So along with those amino acids, make sure you're taking in enough total calories based on your age, sex, and activity level. Finally, optimal protein building requires hormones like testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor, which reach their peak levels during sleep. But hormones like cortisol that break down protein increase with inadequate sleep. So along with getting the right amount and type of protein, make sure you consume enough total calories and get the recommended 7+ hours of sleep. Now, I realize there will always be individual variations, but hopefully these protein intake recommendations for active individuals gives you an idea of where to start or how to move forward with your protein needs. As always, my answers come from peer-reviewed research.